Hey, welcome, Sandra, y'all. Welcome to another Tuesday night. Actually, the last Tuesday night of 2023 for Scotch on the Bayou Live. So I want to say hello, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. And since John McShane has taught me this, and I'll wish you a happy new year when it comes, when it arrives. Yeah, fun stuff tonight. We're just gonna do kind of a chill recap and visit amongst ourselves, say hey to everybody, and just kind of look back at this year of what happened on the channel and then what happened like in real life, whiskey or related. And I want to hear from you all, uh and like what were some of your highlights and even lowlights. Some things may just not have worked out as far as a particular bottle or a dram, or you you know we don't want to concentrate too much on that, mainly as a learning opportunity, if you will. But what were the highlights of 2023? And it is that time we kind of look back, right? I cannot believe this year went by this fast. I can't believe all the things happened in this year. um, so yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that and revisit some of those whiskey resolutions that Roy and I talked about at the beginning of this year. It's a really fun. I went back and I watched that episode today, um, just trying to make sure I had a good idea going through the year about what I was really trying to do as far as a whiskey resolution. Some I did really well, some not so much. But that's the way those things go, right? After all, tomorrow, about a week in the so we're going to have another year, so we can start all over. I guess we'll do that. Let's just see who all is in and tell me what you're drinking. Hubby's manning the boards as always, sweetheart. And Jennifer, so good to see you. I know you're a little under weather, friend. Like, get lots of fluids, lots of rest. And if a whiskey can't kill the bug, I don't know what will. We had fun chatting today, and I'm gonna get to visit virtually with her very soon, and it can't be too soon enough. Good morning, Andrew. Uh, Thanks for much for being the night owl that you are. I've got a dram that you gave me coming up, so I'm excited about that one. Thanks, friend. You definitely made this year extra special for sure. Hey, Peter, great to have you in, friend. Hope you're doing well. And you'll have to let me know what you're having in libation wise. And Sugar Kitty's in, meow, my friend. Awesome. Yeah, let me know what everybody's drinking. And Jim, hey, Kimredic is in. Which Highland Park? I'm thinking. Are you going to throw me a curveball? Um, oh, wonderful, wonderful. Chad Anderson, my boo. I miss you so much. And you're all up in the recap. So don't go anywhere. Because I'm gonna talk about you. And it's all good, I promise. But yeah, I hope you're doing really well. I know you've been busy. We've got quite a few whiskey clubs going on, and Victoria's right around the corner, literally. And we definitely hate that we're going to be missing that this year. But yeah, fun. You started the year off with a bang, friend. You really did. Good to see you, Graham. Where are you this time? Greetings from Chile, Scotland. No doubt it's cool there, but you've been going on and doing quite a few more excursions. We all live vicariously through Graham and his excursions via Facebook and the Barflies show, Barflies channel for sure. Hey Abby, how are you? Good to see you, friend. Yeah, so and and happy Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas to you too, Stacy. I hope you're doing well, and I hope um, Papa Noel or Santa Claus or whatever the Irish version of that delivers something very nice under your tree. Big time, big time. Yeah, so what I am drinking, as we'll get to, one of those resolutions was to get through more of my samples. So considering in that episode with Roy, where we're talking about whiskey resolutions, um, I talk about having gone through and making a spreadsheet of over 100 samples that I have. I brought back 80 this summer. So I have double that now for sure. And and lots of things have been showing up, this time of year. So I've got to get at that better. So that maybe a hint is how well I did on knocking out samples. But this is one from the Kleinleash distillery tour and tasting I did, and it was a 16-year Kleinleash that we had, and it was 49.3%. And you can see it just has that beautiful kind of honey waxy color. And you get a little waft of that, not so much as you do on the 14, I think, but there is that waxy bit. So yeah, yum yum. So let's see. Stacy is having a Guinness, and the Liberator port and stout finish single malt. Yum. That sounds good. So you're drinking them at the same time, or you had the Guinness first and now you finished it off with the whiskey? Whatever that is, I bet it sounds really great. Yeah, so if you don't know, Abby and Jennifer are really great friends. And they have a thing for Jura, especially when they get together. So I've heard a couple of Jura stories and seen the empty bottles to prove it. Yeah, fun. Let's see. I was seeing what else. Hey Chad. So Chad was saying it has been a very busy year, right? It really has. Us being able to come up there when Jennifer and I went up there, and we'll get to that in a sec. It was so much fun. And as I told Roy in that episode, I was so excited to go to my first big girl whiskey festival. So that was a really big one. Hey Kyle, great having you here. Excuse me, guys. Just finishing off a decanter of the Edward Dower 12-year cask strength sherry. Yum. Maybe the best sherry bomb in the cabinet. Going to be part of a sherry bomb infinity bottle. Oh, how that's really cool. Yeah, that I would imagine those. I think I know which one you're talking about. It is a really pretty bottle, and it's not something you just want to go, okay, I got, we're done, let's toss it. But oh, wonderful. So Abby's actually on the Dalmore 12 tonight. Good for you. So yes, so Graham today was at Blair Athol. That's right. I saw a picture of the Tun bar, TUN bar there, that you were at. Lovely. This Kleinleash is, I remember the 16 I liked, and then there was a distillery exclusive, and that was the one I ended up getting a handful of. Yeah, just bourbon matured, a little waxy. You got like an orchard fruit on the front end. Yum. So knocking these out so I can clean the bottles up, refill them, and send them back to some other folks for sure. Oh goodness. Let's see who else is in here. Hey Donner. Merry Christmas to you too, friend. I know you're still at work. We're going to have a dram for you, I promise. But thanks for popping in. I really do appreciate it. It's like all my peeps. I love it when all the peeps come in. So what I kind of wanted to do is talk a little bit about things that we did on the channel. And kind of the mix of the shows that we were doing for live. Because one of the things, it's very evident that I need to look at doing in 2024. And so I'm going to do a lot of soul searching over over the Christmas break time. Um, as far as the channel is like, really, what do I want 2024 to be? I mean, I've been running and gunning basically since May between 2 trips to Scotland and just trying to figure out like what I want to get done. In 2024, I really want to try to get as much, produced content in addition to the live shows, but produced content. I have so many ideas, y'all. I have a laundry list of things. Execution is not a friend right now. So I'm going to be changing some tactics, trying to get some help and get us some more content on the things that we did in Scotland, but also just some basics um, about the industry and about Scotch itself, more educational type things, and really look at trying to help folks out who are thinking about taking a trip to Scotland for their whiskey adventures. I learned so many things this summer. I learned what to do and what not to do. Somebody else probably needs to know that. Um, I would love to hear from you all about ideas about what you'd like to see for the channel, topics that you would like to cover. One of the things I know that we're going to be doing more of is, and pretty regularly, is a group of blind challenges for most anybody who would like to do one, but definitely for the camp drummers, for those who are supporting the channel to partake and be part of doing a blind challenge and really putting the whiskey to test and seeing how they can pick things out. The great thing about that is like when you get going, it really isn't right or a wrong. It's what you really like and taste. But then you kind of work down the clues and things like that. You can kind of figure out and rework your thought process with what you might be tasting. And I just think we learn so much from a blind challenge. So that's one of the things. If you're interested in that, let me know. Camp drummers, get first pick on if you want to be part of it. And of course, that means you got to be on the box here. You got to be on the camera. But it's great fun. And I absolutely love making a fool out of myself on a blind challenge. I get really excited when I'm right. And for some reason, I can usually nail down an ABV like that. What gets me is when you get some that might be an independent bottling and it's an atypical maturation for that particular distillery. It might be like a peated Highland, and you just kind of get mixed up on that stuff. But they're so much fun. They are so much fun. So I definitely want to look at doing that, and telling me what you all think. So Kyle says no one's out there doing Scotch hunting videos at all on YouTube, and that's such a huge part of the bourbon side of things. So you mean like actually going out and trying to find the bottle? I'm guessing where you're just going through and saying, here's a store. Is there a good stuff or not? So yeah, tell me some more about that, Kyle. That's really interesting. Yes, I've learned so much, and you cannot even imagine how much I thank you. And I am so using, I mean, you're all about my transportation part, because I could not have gotten around Scotland this last trip if it hadn't have been for your sage advice. I promise you that, Graham. I do really appreciate that. But yeah, so hey, Tater Dom is in. Good to see you, friend. Let us know what you're drinking tonight. I've got one of my samples from Klein Leash from this summer trip. And it was a wee tiny sample. I mean, it was 15 milliliters, and I probably had, less than half of it. So it was truly a splash in a glass, right? But it's so Klein Leash. It's just, mm, mm, mm. So I think, Yeah, I'm going to pour this next one and give it a little time to relax because it's at a whopping 57.1. And this is one of yours, Andrew. So, but yeah, so we'll get, I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna cover it up. And this is what's next on deck is a sample from Andrew. It's the Aaron White Stag, which is like their, you know, Friends Lefroy group. It's their closest fans, and this is the fifth release. You can see the color of this one, and I love Andrew Sokol. He even puts the graphics of the bottle on the sample. I mean, come on, y'all. Is that amazing? So amazing. So we're gonna let that go. But so I wanted to share tonight, you know, me and my little presentations, y'all. I'm all about graphic. I'm all about the visuals. I mean, you can see me yak all day long on this, but I just wanted to talk about what happened this year because it was full with adventure. Um, the opportunity to see people that I've been wanting to meet or that I've known, and over the last, over those 2 years of craziness, getting to know people, but not being able to meet them and finally getting to see them, face to face, and more fabulous whiskey than I could count. I talked, I think, last week about the fact that I was just so into, I'm going to take this book to Scotland with me. I'm going to write down every dram I drank. Graham does it. Andrew does it. There are lots of people that really document what they, and I got so bright eyed and giddy over there. I didn't write a damn thing down, but you know what? I had a great time and I enjoyed every bit of it. This is a menagerie of just a quick little snapshot. This over here, this motley crew is about 2 a.m. after the end of the Victoria Whiskey Festival. You got Teresa, you've got Bry, who was on a couple of weeks ago with me. Jennifer's there, and then Chad Anderson here. This is Chad, and you'll see more pictures of him in a bit. We were all adorable, fast approaching Precious, and that was okay because it was the end of the show. Me, Mark, and DJ at Ardnamurchan this summer after Mark survived Single Track Roads. Funny, Olive Rasse gets 2 pictures on the thumbnail. Can you believe this? This is the view from the Olive Rasse, y'all. I mean, it's just absolutely stunning. And the hill back behind it means pale cow in Gaelic. And Alistair Day literally got this pale white cow, this hairy coo, and it is at the Isle of Rasse because he had to have it. I mean, if the hill's called pale white cow, you got to have a pale white cow, right? And then this, I believe, I want to say, this might be the Ardbeg or the SMWS tasting at Victoria. But yeah, just amazing, amazing, amazing drams. So starting off with those whiskey resolutions, part of what I want to do, we've been locked up for so long, locked up so long that I wanted more adventure. Well, I got it. I mean, I knew we were at the beginning of the year. I knew I was planning my trip, and that was our makeup trip. We had lost 2 years. We had vouchers. We were supposed to go over here in 2020. Didn't happen. So we made our way, started planning. Cannot tell you. I mean, Graham helped, Andrew helped, Roy helped, all kinds of folks came out to help. Gregor, oh my gosh, time for a dram. Gregor was invaluable of saying, okay, Lee, that might be too much. So yeah, part of that was have those whiskey adventures. So boom, right off. Second, third week in January, Jennifer and I are off to the Great Northwest, had some fun in Seattle. We closed down 3 establishments in Seattle. including Westland. And then we went and made our way by seaplane to Victoria, and just an amazing time. Got to enjoy things, got to see people. It was truly amazing. And you look at Jennifer holding this oily and coastal Bunnahabhain that she found, because SMW asks and sell in retail of Canada. And she's clutching that to her bosom, just like she's so happy. And then, it was the Power Whiskey women. I loved, we had a great dinner that night. It was just absolutely wonderful to meet these crazy ladies, including Terry here. You'll see a couple pictures of her, who I've known, over the box, through Instagram, through social media and everything, but finally got to meet. And then the tastings, oh my gosh, a Douglas Lane tasting, the Gordon and MacPhail, being able to meet Richard Urquhart. And I dare anybody say that if you don't meet this guy, you don't have a crush on him. Whiskey crush. Okay. But still, just a delightful, elegant, lovely man. And Doogie wasn't bad either, over there looking all spiff in his vest and everything. The drams that we had, the tastings were just unreal. John McShane was there, of course, with SMWS, and again, it was just a great experience, because it just felt posh. It was well planned. And it's very Scotch centric. I mean, there was some other whiskeys. There was a good representation of Indian whiskey, of Japanese whiskey, a smattering of American whiskey, definitely Canadian. But it was, and Jennifer and Chad, chime in the chat, please. But I found it a core of Scotch whiskeys. And that is not something we have down here. I mean, it's just not. I mean, you've got some of the really big commercial, like that the Whiskey Advocate does, and some other big commercial companies do. This is enthusiast centric. And I would say, if there's a way at some point you could have that kind of adventure, it's absolutely wonderful. Victoria is stunning, even in January. I would love to go there in the summer, because to get out of this heat and to get up there, it looked like a storybook. It just looked like a fairy tale place. So, yeah, just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. Before we get into that, I wanted to catch up over here. Kyle, look at you. Lucky enough to marry a Scottish woman who is not a drinker, meaning you go home with her driver drams. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that, boo. That's awesome. That's like, find somebody supportive. There you go. That's that's awesome. Hey, Trooper, good to see you. I'm glad you're in, friend. And Ian is here too. Great to see you. Hope y'all are doing well. Okay, some more clarification on this. So no one, all right, we talked about that. So Scotch hunting it all, but I'm always keen to hear on what bottles and how many people bring back from their trips or from Scotland, Ireland. I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to get into some of those in a minute. But yeah, that's a really good, I appreciate that perspective. And because we don't get, I tell Graham this, I tell Roy this all the time. I'm like, you're sitting in the middle of Mecca when it comes to whiskey. I don't know if you saw the Barflies, but Roy and Scott and Gregor and Sevi, they all went to something on Sunday. And I mean, when you look at the drams that they had, what a fabulous, I'm really happy for them. Not jealous at all, but I'm really happy for them. But it's just over there, and not so much over here. I think that's one of the reasons that when we do get to go over, I try to absorb the the uniqueness of the drams over there without trying to have so many. I don't appreciate the ones I have, if you know what I mean. You just don't go over there and go bright like crazy and have all the things. Well, first of all, you're not going to be real fun to be around if you do that. Secondly, um, if you're one of those people kind of like me, you just want to kind of like not analyze it, but just absorb it all and just enjoy it and pay attention to it. And what I loved about going to those tours is we usually had a driver dram to go. We would split when Mark was with me. We would split the one, tasting, and we usually had a driver or we were walking or whatever, however transportation we were getting, but we would have one of ours in driver drams, and those are part of the 80 samples I brought back. Now I can sit back with them and do the Bunnahabhain warehouse tasting again in a easy environment and not have to be constrained by time and things like that. So hooray for your wife on being able to help you with that. God, that's awesome. Yeah, super to see you, Ian. You've got a Ben Romick book. Oh, and pencil for noting your dream. Okay, that's cool. Usually it's forgotten to be taken with me. Yes, I understand that. Tried to do notes on your phone. That's a good idea. Yeah, sometimes, but I mean, I think if you're sitting there having drams with someone like you, they know it's okay. I was mesmerized when we met Graham at SMWS and we were tasting and talking, and he got his book out, and he's just, I mean, to me, that I found it intriguing how he documented everything. And I even remember sitting there going, don't rush him, don't ask, wait till he finishes and then ask him like, what are you getting off of it? And then you would have that conversation anyway. But it's okay. That's something you can recognize as important for someone to be able to document that, and then let them go there. That's for sure. um mm-mm-mm. um oh, you're so funny. You're so there's many reasons I like Chad. Absolutely, yeah. So Victoria was amazing, right, Jennifer? It was just crazy, the drams that we had. I think you had a 40-year-old Ben Romick, didn't you? I think so. Pretty cool. So Kyle says when he gets back to the States, the regions are very wild. Yeah, up in the Northeast, you definitely have um more access to things. Well, I guess depending on the state. But Virginia and Maryland, ooh, yeah. I would say, well, in the DC area for sure, there's some really good places to get whiskey. Some places are just barren, you know, and especially if you're in a state where it's alcohol controlled and the state decides what it's going to buy for the people to buy. Oh my heavens, that just is not right. That is so not right. Um, hey Peter, great seeing you here. Having red wine and dinner, lovely. Next is unpacking for a move. Oh my goodness, big change there. Don't get me started on Cox Cable. You just need to go watch some lives from last year. You'll know what I think about that. But Bacanora, rye, and bourbon and beer since the move. Awesome. Very nice. Yeah. Mm. Oh, yeah. So you did have the 40-year and a nib of black art too. Yeah, we were not spoiled for choice. I mean, we were not lacking for choice at in Victoria. So yeah, if you've been on any part of this channel and with me anytime this year, I went to Scotland because this is all I'm freaking talking about. And it's okay because I think I think everybody excited about when someone gets to go do something like that. You would, if you can't get the opportunity, I think those of us who like to go and do these things, I know Graham's like this when he goes to all of his distillery tours. He's documenting it for people to learn and know more about, because not everybody gets to go, but he can be their proxy. That's what I try to do on this trip, is to be folks proxy, to where I can talk about some of these things. As far as distillery tours, so between the summer trip, which was, I think it was 24 distilleries, and then I went to four or five in at the Glasgow trip this November. I mean, almost 30 distilleries I hit this year. Um, and then on the channel itself, um, there were 12 shows where we highlighted a particular distillery, and even some of those were American single malts distilleries. But as far as the actual ones that went to in Scotland, you know, I went to Holyrood the first time and then went back this last Glasgow trip. So that one was twice. Um, and some were quick visits, which is what the QV stands for. And some were, T and T, a taste and a tour and a taste. So looking at what those were and just being able to go through, and we've done shows on, let's see, on the Glenmorangie we did, on Aberlour we did, and I've got something working on Holyrood that will come out in a couple. Will come out in January for sure, which is a great interview with Callum Ray, their distiller at Holyrood. So that's going to be really cool to do. I've got something working on Glenallachie, and yeah, so that's just the first line. When you look over here at those tall stills at Glenmorangie, are just amazing. Glengarry is ancient, like Berclotti. This is Ardbeg, Lafroig. Um, this is this gentleman back here is David Brody, who I just love distraction. He's just a hoot and a half at Bunnahabhain. Can everybody smell this? If YouTube could do smells, this is the open mash tun at Springbank, the malting floors at Springbank, but looking over at some of these other ones, this last trip, the 4 hours that Graham and I spent at Deanston was amazing. This year we did a show on Kilhoman. We did one on, let's see, on Kilhoman, Deanston, Glengoyne, Berclotti, Virginia Distillery, Ardnamurchan, Aaron, and Balcones. So 3 different Americans. Andalusia was the third, Lagavulin, and Glen Grant. So, yeah. So we've covered a good little bit of education about overall distillery information. Being able to go to some of those really kind of turned it up, and that was just the distillery part of it. That wasn't just the part where we're seeing the ancient ruins of things, and trying to be immersed in the culture and all that the intrinsics that Scotland gives you. I was talking to Mark today about, okay, when we plan that next trip, I just want to go to where we can just spend some downtime, and some more time, looking at a castle. It doesn't have to all be about whiskey, but just being able to absorb the environment, I think is important. for sure. Um, and maybe as there's so many new distilleries now producing whiskey in Scotland these days, and it's just adds to your bottle collecting trips here, yes. And then we'll make a video for it, so Kyle will have that because evidently, um, the crazy Southern woman aloft in a mist in Scotland finding bottles would be entertaining, and I'm being serious because um, I've gotten myself in a couple of situations over there where the accent saved me, including one bus trip. My first time over, I was clearly on the wrong bus to someplace, but as soon as I started talking, evidently I enamored the bus driver so well that he went out of his route to take me where I needed to go. So if it works, folks. Yeah. So I'm going to get to the second dram now. I think it's had a little time to breathe, a little air. And just a reminder, this is the Aaron White Stag 57.1, the fifth release. I don't know if Andrew's still on, but if you got any other information about this one, Andrew, oh, the color, y'all, look at the color. Oh my gosh. And again, that's why I love my Glencairns, don't get me wrong, but I really like a hotter whiskey on this wide bowl glass. It just, I think it makes it a little bit more approachable. And I'm guessing this is a sherry or some type of wine finish from the nose. And it's got a little heat on the nose for sure. But I'm getting like the whole kind of stewed fruit thing. Really sweet up front. A little cinnamon ginger thing going. And actually looks kind of oily. Ooh. What is that? Almost like almond paste and grapefruit. Just the sweet on the front. It is like the stewed fruit, kind of like a Christmas cake, sweet and spice with the ginger. That goes from the nose to the taste for sure. Oh man. But at 57.1, it does not taste hot. Wow. Okay, we're gonna let it breathe a little bit more. So moving right along. Another thing that I wanted to do, and this is where the bottles come in, Kyle. I'm all for you on the bottles because, and I have to say, this is not all of them, but it's a lot of them. So Kyle, I don't know if you know, but I came home with 17 I only came home with one. Was it only just one from Victoria because we had to pack really lightly because we had to get on a seaplane. It had a 25-pound limit. So that kind of knocked that out. But it's 17 bottles from the summer trip and then 5 or 6 bottles from the November trip. And see there. Very cool. Okay, back to this dram. So details are small batch bottling of 4X sherry hogshead, 9 years old. Wow. For this Aaron White Stag release. I can totally get that. But it's not a sherry bomb. It's very balanced. That's the thing too, I noticed. For me, I'll give a whiskey a higher mental rating if it's balanced. If it's not just overtly one thing or another, those, I think, they get all jabberwocky and you just, I don't know. I love a balanced dram. So, resolution, make strategic whiskey purchases. I felt like I needed to be more purposeful about what I was going to buy for the channel, but also for the development of my palate. Like I wanted to be able to explore different things with my palate than what I was going to be able to, what I normally can get access to. I do not buy a lot off online. I really don't buy as much whiskey as I know a lot of my friends do. And that's okay because contrary to popularity, I really don't drink a whole lot. I drink for the enjoyment and occasionally, but I have too many unopened bottles. More on that in 2024. But, being strategic about the types of whiskey I wanted to buy, um, being when I did go to Scotland, I was like, I'm not buying something I can buy at home. That was the number one prerequisite. If I can buy it at home, I'm not going to buy it here, and haul it all the way. Some of these, quite frankly, could be available back in the States, you know, or you could order it from overseas and have it sent to the States. But for me, I wanted to kind of enjoy the area, be exposed to that, and then figure out what I wanted to bring home. Um, so this is mostly the list from the summer. Um, Added a couple of other ones, like the Ardnamurchan, and the two Barflies, Roy's two Ardnamurchans. For those were this year. I really got into Ardnamurchan. Ain't gonna lie, I am a fangirl. Something about the minerality of that spirit just does it. I just absolutely adore it. Um, that Pitivaic 29-year, we talked about that last week on the favorite drams 2023, which was a really fun episode if you haven't seen that. Uh, that one, that was kind of my stretch bottle, that was a really big deal. A closed distillery, 29 years old. That's about as fancy as I get. The 24-year-old Glenlawsie was actually a share bottle with all of my Scotch buddies that they all pitched in, and we bought that bottle. But things that you can't get, a handful, at Glenallachie. For rating and doing reviews, these aren't really the bottles because a lot of these can't be purchased easily. But I have enough of those, and I just really need to do reviews on those. This was more a personal trip, so these were the personal bottles that I wanted to bring back for sure. And then another one, going through this last trip, picking up the inaugural release from Holyrood, The Arrival. That's a big one. The Caboken 15. I've always been a fan of Caboken, and then this 15 is just amazing. This bottle right here that I got from Graham, we need to find a way to clone that. We need lots of them. That is just unbelievable. A blended whiskey, very reasonably priced and probably non-existent now, because it's actually won a big award. But so very good is a PX, total maturation on that. So yeah, super, super good. Rasse is doing some cool stuff with their different maturations. We got this year, I got the very first Rasse that was able to come into, or the first time it got to Louisiana, I got a bottle of just their core release, which is interesting in, how do you make a young whiskey complex? Well, have peated and unpeated in 3 different cask variations of red Bordeaux, rye, and a Chinkapin oak. All 3 of those peated and unpeated, and it built a multi-dimensional whiskey in, about less than 4 years old, expression. So what they're doing and being able to add in now, the place is absolutely stunning, drop dead gorgeous. The people are fantastic. The food is like, unreal. I mean, we got good food down here, let me tell you. But the food that we had in Rasse was amazing. The Manzanilla cask, oh Lord, that's going down fast, and I'm gonna be so sad when that one's gone. This last time bringing over the Colombian oak, the Quercus Humboldti, that particular one. We talked a good bit about that last week on the show as well. Um, so yeah, you know those um, the Glen Scotia White Port, lightly peated. Um, those things just really added to more of a personal strategic purchase this year to help me figure out my palette and expand on that. And um, we'll do some for the channel, but for the most part, this was Lee's year. I'm gonna call it like it is. um, Unabashedly unapologetic for that. This ooh we this has had a little time to breathe, Andrew. I'm getting like orchard apples and more stone fruit on the nose of this now. The cinnamon and the ginger that on the nose, that's faded away. Mm. So Kyle, that white port, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Um, I saw up here. I think somewhere you said you plan on bringing 14 bottles between the wife and you. That's a joke. My husband Mark in the chat. I mean, we were sweating there, especially after we saw Andrew, and he was so sweet and generous with the samples, and we were pushing, 23 kilos and kilogram. Like, how are we going to get these bags through? And actually, we donated a pair of Mark's boots to the lady we were staying with at Airbnb in London. I was like, can your son wear these? If not, would you please find a place to donate these to, because they're not coming back to Baton Rouge. We're putting whiskey in its place. Mark never liked those boots anyway, so it didn't really matter. Yeah, you're very fortunate in Scotland to be able to try the drams from new distillery or from distilleries new to us at whiskey bars before buying the bottle. Yeah. And it's going to have to be tried and true before it goes across, the Atlantic in many ways. That's for sure. Um, so hey Rob, good to see you in. So that white port, we're talking about the festival bottling or something else, but that's the one I know of is the festival bottling. If that was what your whiskey of the year is, it's really good. So this is probably my favorite part. This part of the resolution was meet more whiskey folks. Again, this was part of recouping from 2 years of being locked down, right? Not a fun time. I think everybody and their brother that could get over there was there this year. And so meeting more of my whiskey peeps and meet them, we did. Oh boy, did we. This crazy trio of me, Terry, and Jennifer. And I mean, look how gorgeous Victoria is, y'all. Just absolutely stunning. Again, with Chad and Chad's crew, Chad's boys. Let me tell you, those guys were an absolute riot. They were just a hoot. And I know y'all are probably geared up in a couple of weeks to go back, Chad, and just have a lot of fun for us. And we'll try to catch you in 2025 for sure. But yeah, just and Mark from the Whiskey Cast podcast. I mean, just amazing people. Scotland was off the chain. I mean, it just was unbelievable. Between Scott Monroe, this Andrew, meeting in London, these crazy guys, these 3 guys were from York, and they were just awesome. They were staying at the Whiskey Gables B&B, and who's the owner here, my friend Caitlin, who went to Harry Styles with me in Edinburgh, the pot still clan, everybody, people that got on a train to come and see us, including Graham. But people that came on a train to come and see us at the pot still was amazing. My buddy Mike and my friend Kat, who's at Glengarry Distillery, absolutely stunning place. Just getting to see these people, so many of whom I knew in this space of the box that my mom calls this thing, the internet. But to be able to meet them in real life, meeting Graham for the first time. This was at SMWS this summer, Gav's Drams, his channel, check him out. Just having fun and everybody having a good time at the pot still. The the man at Lagavulin, okay? I mean, being able to see him before he retired was amazing. Um, this is Macon. Macon is American, and she just turned in her dissertation, um, and um, and Glasgow, where she's going to school on to for her PhD in whiskey marketing. Just so intriguing. I got to see her again this last trip. Robert and Carlos here. This couple I met from Denver, who, funny enough, figured asked me who I was. And, this is Alistair and Sharon Day and Olive Race, and we just had a spectacular time. And I think everybody knows this guy. But the fact that we're standing here in his driveway in front of the recycle bin, okay? I mean, come on, um, and seeing all these people and taking this trip this summer for Mark to be able to see and like get it, to really be able to get it, um, of why I go so nutsy cuckoo over this stuff, why I absolutely love it. I mean, he's so patient and he's so supportive, and being able to understand and be supportive of the fact that when people who I've made acquaintance here just show up in Baton Rouge and okay, or we go meet friends and people that we've met in New Orleans and and be able to make those connections. It's really important and it's a big thing for the channel, but also for the community for sure. For sure. Um yeah, this is another part of this community. Andrew knew Jennifer was going to have a big birthday, and he sent one of those samples to her for that birthday. It's just it's very humbling, and I don't know. It's just it's really pretty damn cool, y'all. It really really is. Um, but yeah, so looking at that trooper, it really was an amazing trip. It truly is. Absolutely. It is so about the people. The whiskey's going to taste good, but man, when you can share it, when you can get other people around, uh, it's really something. It just tastes better. And I think all of us, Roy's really big into that. It's not whiskey until it's shared. It's all about that. I could have gone to Deanston by myself. I could have taken a tour. Well, probably wouldn't have taken a tour because of the circumstances with construction, but I could have gone there. I could have done a tasting and I could have got on the bus and could have come home. The fact I got to spend 4 hours doing that with Graham, that's what was special about Deanston. I love Deanston. Don't get me wrong. Deanston's fabulous. Had a great time. Love their whiskeys. But because I had that personal connection with a friend to go do that, I could have gone to Victoria Whiskey Festival by myself. Okay. If I didn't know Terry, if I didn't know Chad, if I didn't know Teresa or any of those folks, I could have still just gone, by myself. Going with my bestie, slinging Jennifer along and, corrupting her to go with me, being able to see people that we've, made a connection with just made it that much better. Right. So yeah, it's all about that connection for sure. Um, I have a picture of her, Graham. She and I did a selfie. I found it the other day. I forgot about it. So yeah, we're at the Harry Coup after our long day, our wonderfully long day, and this woman comes in from Norway, and I'm like, I ain't no Norway accent. I know where that accent's down where I live. And sure enough, this woman walks in a bar in Stirling, Scotland, and she's from Baton Rouge, just like me. It was crazy. She lived in Norway for the last 28 years or so, but yeah, how crazy is that? But isn't that the serendipity that's supposed to happen over there? You know? Mm. Andrew, this was delightful. I have that other errand you gave me, and we're probably gonna have to do an errand thing later. I'm gonna save some of that. Um, and then I know we're gonna go a little bit, not too far over. So here's another one I have from another of the 80. Um, golly, and phonetically, I need someone to help me phonetically. Horthrusk. I don't know. How do you say this? It's a space AU. What is it? Let me see if I can. Hey Mike, good seeing you. You're never too late. We're gonna go a little late. AUCH. I think I'm butchering this because I can't read my own writing. That's not right. Oh no, it's O. There's an O in there somewhere. I butchered that, but y'all are gonna have to like help me out on that one. It's a Murray McDavid, and it's Madeira, 9-year-old Madeira at 59.7. Mike Stewart, Jennifer, and I, our buddy from the Iowa Whiskey Academy. He has a Inverary whiskey shop. Inverary, not Inverary. Very important. Othrusk. Thank you. See, I just needed it phonetically. Thank you for helping me with that. Othrusk. Okay. Othrusk or Othrusk. That one. what they're saying. That's what this is. A Madeira cast. Ooh, it's whiny. Whiny. So, perfect case in point, right? For your birthday, you went. For your birthday. And I know I missed it. So, people thought you were crazy. You had a plan to go to Scotland. But you also knew you had a pile of peeps that were going to be at the Scotch for Dummies gathering. And yeah, the people made it. I mean, Martin's probably off delivering a baby tonight instead of being here. I mean, Kim, I know, was there. You had all these other people that besides the poor dummies. So yeah, I totally understand that, and don't ever regret it. That's for sure. Hey Rob, yeah. Well, let me tell you, nose on this is just like it's got a slight funk, that you kind of get on some of the wine ones. But I mean, I definitely right off the nose would know that it was a wine. It was a wine matured. Mm, mm, mm. So, for those that don't know, Ian is Scottish. It lives in Perth, Australia, not Perth, Scotland. Mm. Oh man. Mm-mm-mm. Ooh. So I've gotten citrus on Madeiras before. Have y'all? Um, it's very malty. With a little citrus. Kind of get that little dryness at the end. Man. Hey George. Good to see you, friend. So yeah, we've talked about whiskey adventures, the strategic purchasing, it was all about me this year. And then meeting all those whiskey friends. And it's only apropos that the king of samples, George Kaplan, shows up to talk about this one too. So one of the other parts about this, and I was good. I did it tonight. Um, drink more sample bottles. Drink more sample bottles. I did not do great at this year, but I got them organized. So I'm happy about that. I still have to reorganize the summer ones. And a good bit of some content for 2024 is going to be, you know, pulling different samples of maybe the same distillery or different distilleries of the same casking together. And the beauty about that is you can do that with samples. But, you know, girl works for a living here. I can't buy full bottles of 4 different Madeiras, but guarantee you, I got 4 different Madeira sample bottles of different, distilleries with that casking. And so we can, work on doing some compare and contrast of that. May do them blind, may just do side to side. We don't know. We'll see how that goes. But looking at those, so some of them we had, so Andrew, these are the 2 up at the top. Those are the 2 Dornick ones that we did before. The one I think this Glenallachie was one that Graham gave me, and then this Lechig was one that I got from Maria, a new acquaintance that from Germany. She and her husband Marcus were on the same tours as me and Mark, like 3 different times, and so of course we became friends. And she had given me this Lechig that was 9 years in a Bordeaux red wine cask. It was so lovely. These down here at the bottom, we had these on a live show with Jennifer and I and Chad, because Chad gifted these to us when we came up to Victoria, and they were, again, things that we won't ever be able to get. They were, either SMWS bottles or things from Kensington Wine Market up in Alberta, and it's just amazing things. And then these over here on the left side, those were the drams, a couple of the single casks from Glenmorangie for my trip there. So that's a whole. We had Bry on talking about Glenmoe, but the whole, upper echelon of Glenmoe is a whole nother, conversation. Some of these caskings, that might be, I might pull 1 or 2 of these to do like a comparison of different, distilleries with the same type of casking. So that's how you can look at your samples too. I mean, it's not just, oh, do I want to drink this one tonight? Go play with them and pull 3 or 4 bourbon matured samples out, and get someone to help you maybe set up a line to do that, and see what you think about how that comes across, and what things are different, which one you prefer. I love doing it blind because you have no pretense of, oh, well, Bruichladdich is my favorite, so I'm going to pick the Bruichladdich. Well, if you don't know right off which one you poured, if you can get someone to help you pour that to where it is blind, it just makes it that much. It's a big puzzle, right? To get to figure that out. I love that part of it. I really, really, really do. Goodness gracious. To see who else is here. But yeah, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. In addition to like the distillery highlights this year, we talked about American single malts. So we really talked a lot about that. Working with a buddy who has a channel, and we're going to try to put together, I don't know if it's going to be a blind, but we're going to be doing an American single malt collaboration. That's going to come up after the new year. So working on a date for that. I would say that I broadcasted 3 on-site live shows. Only 2 of them worked. because Campbelltown has really bad Wi-Fi. At least it did where we were. But being able to do a live show from Speyside and then do another one from Glasgow this last trip, I mean, that was crazy to be able to do that. And it was a lot of fun. And I corrupted those guys that were at the B&B with me, Chris Webb and his buddies, to be on that show. So I think it was good. I'm excited about 2024. I feel like I'm kind of hitting my speed, but I want really interesting content. So if you've got ideas, hit them my way. Camp Drummers, the community tab's always open. Always available on socials. And scotchonthebayou@gmail.com's the email. So always don't hesitate, y'all, to be doing that. And let me know what you think about next year, what you liked, what you kind of like, that's okay. Wow. This does not taste like almost 60 ABV. This is frightening. It's so easy to drink. I'm going to throw a little bit of water on it. And we're going to wrap up here a little bit. One of the things I wanted to bring up, last year about this time, we were talking a lot about Louisiana and our cultural things that we do around the holidays. The Festival of the Bonfires, I think it was this past week, but they're building the bonfires on the levee. So for those who may not know, Papa Noel, Santa Claus, has a sleigh of alligators that comes in Louisiana because we were really swampy, and the reindeer have no place sometimes to land, so you got to have the gator. And there's communities along the Mississippi River that will build these 3-dimensional teepee like bonfires, stacked wood in the shape of a teepee, and they're all along the top of the levee of the Mississippi River itself. And sometimes they'll do them in different 3-dimensional characters, or they'll do like an entire house, or they'll build like a fire engine that's all out of wood. And this one particular this year is a garfish, which is prevalent down here. And it looks prehistoric, and it is actually prehistoric. It's not something I'm going to eat anyway. But this huge, enormous garfish, and I'll probably put it on socials at some point this week, has been built. And if we can steal away some town this weekend before they burn on, they're gonna torch the whole thing, and they do that so that they light the way for Papa Noel to get to deliver his gifts for the kids. So they do that, and these beautiful, unbelievable structures, they're just going to burn. And it's a tradition that they do down here. I'm sure Trooper knows all about it. They do it on the West Bank and the East Bank of the river, and so that's a really cool thing. The other thing I want to bring up is last year, my husband Mark, as you know, Mark Rainer here in the chat, did a recording of the Cajun night before Christmas. And Mark, I think you're still around, if you'll go and put that link into the chat. It is, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 minutes long, little video that we did. And it was kind of our Christmas card to everyone to share our culture of Louisiana. And he does a great job. For a guy from New Orleans, he does a great Cajun accent. Let me just put it that way. But looking at analytics on the channel, it's blown up. It's amazing how many people have been watching this video. And I wanted just to bring it back up and show everybody to just take a few minutes, and you'll kind of get a taste of a classic tale, but the Cajun version of it. And it's a beloved book that we have here, gorgeously illustrated. And so Mark does the narration, and you'll see the pictures in the book. But it's a way for us to say Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And I almost did it again. So John McShane, on a recent video chat that I was got to see, talked about how, and again, Graham, I feel like you need to validate everything I say here lately, is that you don't necessarily wish someone a happy new year, because it's not really good luck if it isn't the new year. Like, you wish them a new year, happy new year in the new year. But before then, you tell them, I will wish you a happy new year when it or comes, or when it arrives. And so Mark and I've both been like, okay, we believe in all that kind of stuff down here, you know. So that's something too that we certainly wish everybody when the new year arrives. We wish you a very good new year when it comes. Um, Graham is asking me, uh, what Scotch whiskey that you haven't tried so far will you target in 2024? You know, I think I probably need to blame you for this, and that is blended malts. That Perth PX blended malt was amazing. And that's something we just flat don't get a lot of right here. You get naked grouse, you get, or naked, I don't know, I guess that's what all they call it now. And then, a monkey shoulder or something like that. I I love, and I'm getting slightly obsessed with blending after doing the blending at Springbank, and just sitting there, you know, finding 3 or 4 cask or 5 cask strength whiskeys that you have, and just blend a little bottle. Just, get an eyedropper, get something to where you can measure, and just play with your whiskey. The idea of it being, you know, all malt and not grain, I think that was it. I also did this year open my brain up and tried to put an unsupported prejudice away from grain whiskey, because Thompson Brothers and McLean's Nose, those things that have grain in them, really made me like, oh, hold up, this is really good. Um, had a higher content of malt, no doubt. But those types of things I want to delve more into 24, for sure. And yes, happy Hogmanay. That's on my bucket list, is be there for Hogmanay for sure. One day, one day. See, even Mark says that blend was amazing. I shared it with my whiskey, my Scotch crew, and I think Mike was even on last week, and he was like, "Dude, that's so good." I think he's been searching for it to try to get a bottle. So, but yeah, um, we are not going to do a show next year, next month, actually. All right, let's start over. We're not going to do a show next week, on the 26th. It's my brother's birthday, and I want to, we're going to hunker down with the family for the week and just enjoy that. But we'll be back on the 2nd. And I really, I really do appreciate all the support this year. Um, I appreciate, the camp drummers have been amazing. Be part of the club if you want to support the channel in that way, hitting the like, spreading the news, uh, send me suggestions, all of those things, the support, all the folks, our crew is growing, and it's really, really pretty cool to see. So I really do, I do appreciate everybody showing up on a Tuesday. And we're going to have a lot of fun next year. This is not always a really good time for people. Holidays can be hard, and that's okay. If it is a tough time for you, reach out, let us know. We're always there for you. But take joy in every day that we have. Find you a really good whiskey and some friends, whether they are virtually or in person, to enjoy this with. And I will see you next year, and we'll have some more fun and some more drams. Until then, my friends, be well, and Sanji, y'all.